Okay, let's unpack this. We all feel it, right? That overwhelming sense of things coming at us, the endless noise, the just chaos of modern life really chipping away at our peace. If you're searching for a way to find some genuine tranquility amidst all that pressure, maybe you realize the usual stuff isn't quite cutting it. Today, we're doing a deep dive into a roadmap, really one specifically designed to guide you toward, well, inner harmony.
That's exactly right. Our focus today is on the core insights from Ashley Daniel Price's guide, Calm Within, Guide to Meditation and Inner Harmony. It came out April 2023. And Price presents it not just as, an introduction. It's framed more like a complete system, a roadmap, as you said, for unlocking well, the transformative power of meditation, moving beyond just relaxation into some deep psychological and emotional cultivation.
Okay.
So our mission here is to pull out the concrete strategies and the kind of philosophical framework this guide offers, give you a bit of a shortcut to understanding its full potential.
That structural approach sounds really necessary because, like you said, meditation often gets boiled down, just sit still and breathe. But what's interesting here is the guide's promise. It says it teaches a wide range of techniques to suit your unique needs and preferences, which suggests, well, it gets that what works for one person might not click for someone else, right? It kind of forces us to look at the specific tools it provides.
It really does. And a major strength, I think, is how logically it builds the practice. For anyone feeling maybe a bit overwhelmed by the whole idea of meditation, the guide clearly lays out foundational techniques first. These are the entry points, really, designed to ground the beginner.
And what does foundational actually mean here? What are we talking about specifically?
Well, the guide focuses on two main practices to start: mindfulness and loving-kindness meditation. Mindfulness is probably the one most people have heard about. Attending non-judgmentally to the present moment, usually anchored by the breath, is presented as the essential tool for managing, a scattered mind.
Okay, mindfulness. But what about loving kindness? What's the key psychological difference there? Because that sounds like more than just observing your breath.
That's a really critical distinction the guide makes. Loving-kindness meditation, or metta, it's actively generative. It's not really about emptying the mind, but more about filling it with intentional, positive emotion. You focus on sending warmth, well wishes, compassion, first to yourself, which is important, and then you kind of expand that circle outward to others. Price suggests this practice is really key for cultivating things like joy and gratitude. Makes it a powerful antidote to, say, cynicism or that inner critic we all have.
Right, right. And this is where the guide seems to go beyond just the basics. It acknowledges that maybe some people listening aren't beginners. They might have hit a kind of plateau. The resource explicitly moves into more advanced practices, which confirms it's valuable for people further along the path, too. How does the book bridge that gap from simple breath work to these, let's say, deeper methods?
It does that by introducing two pretty powerful techniques that move beyond just passive observation. They're more about active mental shaping and focusing energy. We're talking about visualization and chakra meditation.
Okay, let's define those a bit. When the guide discusses visualization, what kind of, advanced mental imagery are we actually taught?
Price uses visualization as a really targeted tool for specific transformation. It involves consciously generating detailed mental images, like maybe picturing a calm, safe place to quickly reduce anxiety, or visualizing successfully finishing a project to build motivation and focus. It's sort of an intermediate step, leveraging imagination to restructure internal emotional states. More dynamic than just counting breaths.
I see. And then, yeah, chakra meditation. That definitely feels like a bigger conceptual leap, especially for a novice.
Oh, absolutely. It is. Chakra meditation delves into the body's, let's call it, subtle energy system. Instead of focusing just on external senses or even the breath, the practitioner directs focus to specific energy centers, the chakras. The aim is to promote balance, healing, maybe flow. This moves past the purely psychological, like mindfulness, into something more energetic. Including this really confirms the book's aim, providing a complete pathway for deepening spiritual connection, not just cutting down momentary stress.
I do appreciate that layered approach. But okay, let's get practical. You can teach me the most complex chakra technique, sure. But if I'm juggling work, family, this constant stream of notifications, how does this guide realistically help me fit these maybe demanding practices into my actual, chaotic schedule?
That's the million-dollar question for every meditator, isn't it? And the guide tackles it head-on. A key insight seems to be focusing on integration rather than, isolation. The material offers practical tips for integrating meditation into your daily routine. It emphasizes that a technique is pretty useless if you just treat it like another chore to squeeze in.
So what might those practical tips actually look like based on that goal of immediate integration?
Well, Price seems to argue that success often lies in micro-practices, using those small, otherwise maybe unproductive windows of time, like practicing 60 seconds of focused breath while waiting for the kettle to boil, or using the first 3 minutes of your commute for a loving-kindness practice, maybe, instead of demanding, an unrealistic 45-minute sit right away. The takeaway seems to be consistency with short bursts often trumps sporadic long sessions.
And the results, according to the author, are quite specific. Measurable benefits, it says. Reducing stress, improving focus, managing emotions, cultivating gratitude and joy. But hang on, immediate measurable benefits. That sounds, well, a bit bold.
Hmm.
Genuine deep meditation often takes years, doesn't it?
That's a great point. It pushes past the surface claims. If we look at the context, the guide isn't promising, immediate enlightenment. It seems to be promising an immediate impact on the stress response loop. When you commit to even a micro practice, just for a minute, you are interrupting the sympathetic nervous system, that fight or flight thing. That interruption itself, that moment of conscious pause, that is the immediate measurable benefit.
Ah, okay. So improved focus isn't suddenly being able to read War and Peace in one go. It's more about interrupting the distraction cycle enough times that you gain these small wins in concentration.
Exactly. And the guide links this directly to managing emotions. If you get better at interrupting that stress loop, you're naturally better positioned to regulate an intense emotional reaction before it spirals. By teaching tools like visualization and loving kindness, Price gives you specific mechanisms to actively shift your internal state rather than just react.
And how does that tie into cultivating gratitude and joy? Those feel like deeper, more sustained states, not just, momentary relief.
They're sustained states, but they're built for sustained practice. That's the key. The guide frames gratitude and joy not as just random luck, but as cultivated skills. Loving kindness, for example, trains the mind away from its negativity bias, right? By intentionally focusing on positive emotion every day, even briefly, the material suggests you're fundamentally altering your default emotional filter. And that leads to those broader well-being claims. It's positioned as a kind of complete life upgrade, mental, emotional, even physical well-being.
That focus on real-world application is so crucial because anyone who's tried meditating knows that washing machine mind feeling. It's rarely peaceful at first. You sit down and boom, your brain screams about the to-do list or some awkward thing you said last week. So the guide addresses this. It provides troubleshooting tips and FAQs.
Yes. It anticipates those inevitable roadblocks.
Yeah.
It doesn't just tell you, ignore the distractions.
Yeah.
It aims to teach you how to engage with them constructively. The guide specifically helps readers tackle those 3 big hurdles that make people quit: distractions, restlessness, and doubts.
Can you give an example? Like, what kind of actionable solution does it offer for restlessness that often feels so physical, like you just need to move?
Restlessness is a huge one, yeah. And the source material doesn't just say tough it out. That rarely works. For physical restlessness, one key insight might be using micro movements, small, intentional shifts in posture, maybe gentle stretches, treating them as part of the practice, not as failures. And for mental restlessness, which is often anxiety in disguise, Price advocates returning to your anchor, the breath, a mantra, a visual. But crucially, without self-judgment, treating the distraction itself as just another thought passing through, not some personal failing. Reducing that self-judgment seems paramount to making the practice stick.
Right, okay. That shifts it from feeling like a failure to just part of the process, a learning opportunity. And this takes us beyond just the basics then. We mentioned earlier that calm within goes beyond just the techniques. What does that actually look like for someone who's dedicated and wants to understand the why behind it all?
This is where the guide really offers something more for the experienced or maybe the philosophically curious meditator. It shifts gears from just a how-to manual into more of a contextual study. It delves into the philosophy and principles underpinning meditation. It explores different traditions, vipassanas, and Tibetan practices.
But why is understanding the history or philosophy so important if someone's main goal is just, say, to lower their stress levels?
Well, context provides grounding, doesn't it? And maybe reassurance. By exploring different traditions, you understand you're tapping into systems of knowledge thousands of years old. That lends a certain weight and authority to the practice. Plus, understanding the philosophical principles like impermanence or maybe interconnectedness gives the why behind the how. It makes the techniques feel less arbitrary, maybe stickier, because you see the practice not just as a quick fix, but as part of a deeper path toward wisdom and lasting interchange.
That really makes it a complete resource then. It covers the entry-level needs with clear techniques, but then provides that academic philosophical depth to keep advanced users engaged. And it's worth just quickly mentioning again the practical support tools, like the guided meditation scripts included, they seem to support the journey whatever your level.
Absolutely. That combination, foundational and advanced techniques, the philosophical context, robust troubleshooting, and practical guided content, it really confirms this guide as a potentially versatile and trusted companion for finding stillness and developing a pretty profound practice.
So, to sort of wrap up the core message for you, the listener, Price seems to have created a resource designed to be that trusted companion for finding a much needed moment of stillness in all the chaos of life. Whether you're a complete beginner just looking for immediate stress relief or someone who's practiced for years and wants to, say, delve into chakra work, this guide promises accessible, structured instruction to help you unlock the secrets of meditation and experience, well, profound, tangible benefits.
Exactly. Whether your goal is purely practical, maybe just managing daily stress better, improving focus, regulating emotions, or if you're looking to deepen a spiritual connection through energy work, this roadmap aims to offer clear, accessible instruction, built on a layered foundation of technique and, importantly, philosophy.
Okay, and as we close out this deep dive, we want to leave you with one final thought to maybe chew on. We've talked about how a key goal here is reducing stress and cultivating positive states like gratitude, right?
Mhm.
Amidst all the noise of modern life. So, thinking about the specific functions of the four main techniques we discussed: mindfulness, which is about observing, loving kindness, generating warmth, visualization, actively shaping, and chakra meditation, that energetic focus. If you could only master one of those four to specifically manage the daily onslaught, the noise of information overload we all face, which technique do you think would be the single most essential tool? And maybe why? Something to think about.